Welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen. We are here tonight at the Leadership Roundtable. This is Unlock Your Franchise's Potential. It's a very, very special event hosted by Mr. Kevin Juza and co-hosted by me, Natan Verhovsky. We have some wonderful guests in the audience tonight. We'll ask them to introduce themselves in a moment. And tonight, and the focus of events like this, they're curated and conducted and co-hosted by me. They're part of a larger scheme. They're meant to be like a symposium in the general Greek sense of the word, a gathering of intelligentsia to share ideas. So it's not a webinar, it's not a workshop. It's a chance where people that are experts and acknowledged as leaders in their field get to come, and the handful of us that get to come and stay and play get to share some of those insights, some best practices, some things. My friend and host Kevin's going to be able to debunk a couple myths. We'll be able to talk about a couple things, and I'm pretty sure that if we did our job right, everyone's going to leave happy, knowing a little bit more than when they came, and feeling that it was a very good use of their time. So, without further ado, let me introduce the wonderful Kevin. And then from there, we can get everyone else introducing themselves and get the party started. Kevin has been an executive sales coach. He's been oh my goodness, a consultant in so many areas as a business consultant, especially as a franchise growth consultant, a franchise legacy consultant, helping and sharing ways that people that have family or friends that want to come take over the business can incorporate that, can start to integrate that, can start to go up that ramp and get into that. At the same time, he's also able to help existing businesses that are in that franchise space with the growth, with critical factors from sales, marketing, all the technologies and fun things needed in between, coming from decades in that. So, in that context, I'm going to ask Mr. Kevin to add some meat to the bones and then pick our first volunteer to introduce themselves.
Awesome, awesome. Well, good to see everybody here tonight. Yeah, as a franchise growth and legacy consultant, what I really love is when I meet owners of businesses and when you kind of start getting into it all, one of the first questions is, what's your exit strategy? What are you gonna do to get out of your business that you've been successfully into? And sometimes they have a plan and sometimes they don't.
Mm.
When the plan is like, well, I'm hoping my kids take it over. Well, as you know, hope isn't a strategy, but you got to talk about it. And I was like, have you asked them or talked to them about it? Well, no, I'm just assuming they'll want it. And that's just where it all starts to unravel. And then they come to a place where it's time to get rid of their business and they can't afford to sell it internally. They got to try to sell it externally. Then they only get pennies on the dollar because they really
Yeah.
don't have a strategy going into it. So I found that with my experience of over 20 years with H&R Block working in the franchise industry, also owning a couple franchises of myself, I came to the point of how can I help help other people take it to the next generation. And also, what's interesting to Ton is how many small businesses that are in smaller communities that when they leave, they don't have anybody to take that business. They don't have that service any longer in these neighborhoods, in these communities when they move out. It's not just a passing of a torch of a business, a successful business to the
Mm.
next generation, but also for that community now won't have that service, or the service has to be rebuilt and recreated, and then it takes a while to have that same level of quality. So that's where I find myself loving and working with this niche of a business and these niche of clients that are trying to pass it over to the next generation.
I love that. I love that. Thank you. I think both ends are needed, both from the immediate now, and we need to increase and make more money and revenue and income and profit, as well as on the other side, we need to think about tomorrow. A lot of those people are addicted to hopium. We're like, I hope this is going to work. I hope this is going to work. And I hope, and I'm like, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. But yeah, very cool. Thank you. Who would you like to speak next?
It's kind of interesting. I'll have add more thing is like only like 60% of second generation businesses succeed.
Oh, that's not good.
It's at a point where you have a successful business making money, then you transition it over to the next generation who's been working in the business, but they can't maintain it and keep it a success after 5 years. So that's something else we're kind of called a purpose here. I'd love to, Lauren, I'd love to hear kind of more what's going on with you. Lauren worked with me about 2 years ago, helped introducing me to a client that she met in a networking program she was doing. So, Lauren, go introduce yourself.
Sure. So my name is Lauren Grant. I have a company called the Franchise Connectors, and I actually work on the opposite side of the table as Kevin. I work with individuals that want to get into business ownership but don't know where to start. So I'll learn about my client's background, their skill set, their interests, their lifestyle and financial goals. I build out a business model for them and then identify franchises that are a good fit for them. So it's a pretty rewarding process. I enjoy getting to help people and helping them find their next home. So I've been doing for quite some time now, and own my own businesses and franchises as well. So to that extent, I like helping people find a good fit for themselves as well.
I like that. Thank you. That's so cool. There's so many different flavors of franchise. Oh my God, new ones every day, right? So there has to be something that'll fit you personality wise, risk reward, ownership, investment wise. There's a bunch of factors, but I'm sure there's got to be so many different flavors out there that there's got to be one that you like.
Yeah, so finding the right fit is important, or finding out business ownership is not right for you upfront is important. So better off knowing that upfront as well.
Oh
So
God, yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
yeah.
Ash, you want to pop on, introduce yourself?
My name is Ash. I am owner of Muya Burger, Fries, and Chicken in Carlsbad, the first one in San Diego. Prior to that, I had 20 years of experience in the restaurant business as an operator, and I made it my point to learn every inch of the business. So I manage the business as I own it, which helped me a lot owning this one. We are planning to open more than probably 10 in San Diego area of Muya. And prior to that, I was a VP for a multi-international company. We were operating about 150 locations all over the world. So that gave me a chance to visit about 90 countries in the world. So
Wow.
Wow.
yeah. So it was fun, but it's completely different game when you are in corporate and then operation and then now owning. So it's a three different faces.
Very
So
cool. But that
yeah.
brings a very unique perspective.
I think so. Yeah, it does help me a lot
Yeah.
to be more decisive and more sharp about taking the right decision. Sometimes you take the wrong decision, but you learn. So,
That's
so
very cool. I like that. I had a
yeah.
friend once who was he studied to become an aircraft mechanic and also to become an aircraft engineer. I'm like, why both? Usually you're either downstairs in the garage or you're upstairs in the offices. He goes, no, I want to be the only guy that can talk to both groups of
There
people.
you go. Exactly. That helped a lot. That really
Yeah.
helps. So,
Yeah. How
yeah.
awesome. I love that. I'll go quick. I'll introduce myself. I'm the only one that has a completely different skill set than everyone outside this group today. My name's Natan Verhovsky. About 30 years ago, I started off being an elite energy coach. I was with Cirque du Soleil. I was with Olympians, national sports teams, had about 15,000 people come through my hands, wrote a couple best-selling books, and never would have come online if it wasn't for COVID. But I did, and I hated the experience, the marketing, the sales, the tech. It was awful. And I founded a not-for-profit back in June 2020, and I wanted to make it available that other people who wanted to get more exposure, that wanted to get out and meet the right people, that wanted to get those executives, those leaders, those C-suite people that are so hard to reach out and touch to be able to have one of a kind events where they got to be felt and heard and personally invited, where they felt, now it makes sense to talk to the host because I, care how much they know only after I know how much they care. And these are the kinds of places that give you a chance to speak, be heard, not be sold or pitched or told or sold, none of that stuff. And that's why it's a very different event. So for me, my company, Allura, we create these type of events specifically. I'm going to put Kevin's contact in the chat. I'm sure you have it already. And if you're driving, don't worry about it. Everything's going to get emailed to you anyway. All notifications and everything will come to you as well. So I'll have that. And I'll put mine too in case you know of anyone that we might be able to help out. So without further ado, Kevin, get us started.
Well, I thought one of the interesting things that in conversating, talking with franchises, is really knowing if they have the skill and knowledge to how to build trust in relationships. They think it's a business and driving it, but there's three relationships that are very key. The people they work for them, right? Their employees. There's also the customer relationships, which that's what we kind of focus a lot on, but then there's also the stakeholders. and that relationship that actually leverages and makes them successful. As in, from what Lauren kind of shared, as the consultant that helps in kind of bringing them in, she's actually going to be a resource through that first year of onboarding and getting up to speed, because she has a lot of resources and connections within her network that actually helps everybody be successful. But really knowing those relationships around you that and leveraging them to make sure those are balanced to be successful in your business.
Mm. I like that. Lauren, what do you think?
Yeah, I think surrounding yourself with a good team is critical to making good decisions and getting good education and information so you can make sound decisions and know what your options are.
Ash, do you want to chime in? I'm wondering if we still have him. He's just gone dark.
I'm here.
There we go. All right, we got you. Good.
I was just parking.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, you're breaking up a bit. Fingers crossed it's going to be able to fix itself. You're breaking up a bit. You might be parking under a cell tower.
The restaurant. All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, you're in. Could you rewind 30 seconds?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
You're good. Thank you.
So what I was saying is, let me see. My goodness, silliness. All right, here. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're going to enjoy this recording when we send it to you afterwards. It's going to be hilarious.
I know, right? It'll be funny, all right? Well, so I was saying that in the restaurant, as you guys know, that the relation is between the guest, the employee. So you're in the middle, and between the franchisor. So the guest and the employee are difficult because it's every guest and what expectation from has their own mind of how the food should look like and how it should taste for them. So that's a difficult one.
Sure.
But winning the guest is as hard as it is, as easy as it is. Just be nice and be kind, in my mind, and always explain. So for us, because we're a brand new brand in San Diego, so nobody knows about us, and how we make the food is completely different. I don't know if any of you know about Muya. So we make our own bread, everything's fresh from scratch in the restaurant. So the people expectation is, oh, this is a soft bread. Well, yeah, because it's baked every day and it's potato bread, so it's soft. So again, it's all about education. So the first year, even until now, I still tend to go out in the diner always and educate the guests and explain to them how our product is, so they become the anchors and understanding. Oh yeah, now I know why your bread is soft. Oh, now I know why the fries are different colors. They're not the same color because they're not bagged. They are hand cut in the morning and bar fried. So that's why they look the way they look. They're not the same potato color, each one, like how
So
you look.
let me bring that up to the group, because education, how significant is that in terms of not just educating, hi, we're here and what we are, but unique selling propositions, differentiators?
Yes.
Kevin, how significant?
It's very significant. It's very important. It's the ones that makes the business or break it. Because if you don't educate people, then they're not going to come again. Then you lose guests. And any restaurant is living on the reoccurring of guests that coming again, regulars. You can have so many guests coming every day, but are they regular? Are they coming tomorrow? In all my restaurants, I manage this. Always about bringing. When you come to eat my food, you say, wow, I like my food. Okay, I'm going to bring my wife. I'm going to bring my husband. I'm going to bring my grandma. I'm going to bring, I don't know. You're going to bring the whole family. Now it became a culture.
Let me ask that, because that's where I want to stop for a sec. Kevin, growth strategy for a new franchise just starting off, going from one location, trying to rapidly expand. What would you see? What would you suggest?
It's kind of an interesting thing. I'm kind of thinking about what pops in my mind is Apple, and kind of going to that point of education. You buy this phone, but then it reinvents itself every year. So then everybody gets to talk about what's new, what's working. And so it's like just where Ash was saying how he educates his customers on the differentiating factor between my food here versus the other food across the street. A burger could be a burger. How do you fight within the burger industry? But you got to be special. You got to be unique. And it's kind of hard
Correct.
to have a 2 minute or a 30-second commercial to define what makes you so special. It's
Correct.
by one customer to one customer at a time, the momentum builds, and then there's a breaking point. There's that point where people start doing the work for you. And so there is that reality at the front where you have to do it. And so when you're thinking about breaking in and building that strategy in your name rec, it is how do you get people to talk about you in a way that it starts building the inertia of growth.
So what are you thinking? Is it a promo? Is it a giveaway? Is it something tied to being seasonal? What do you see?
I don't see as much as it being promotional kind of a thing. I to get the long growth, it's about the pride. Because if you start working too closely on price, then you're always fighting downwards and trying to find the next lowest price, the next lowest price.
Right.
You truly know where you're at. When I opened up my franchise called Snap Fitness, it was a very young brand when I got into it, so we could price our strategy in many different ways. But I knew across the street that's where Choose was going to be opening up, and they were going to be like the 1999 Planet Fitness type of gym where I couldn't do $20 a membership. That just would not work, you know. So instead of being a promotional thing, I went for the higher end and the higher value of what our gym was going to bring. And knowing that and confidently knowing what you have and what your offer is, people will come in because they love the confidence in what you believe in, not what you're trying to sell.
I like that. Lauren, chime in here. I like that.
Yeah, I think having a strong value proposition of why should I do business with you over my alternative options out there in the market. And so really sharing that with your customer base helps them choose you over, alternative options that they have. So I think having that vision and then being able to succinctly share that with potential customers will help your business grow, and then really staying true to it.
I like that. I like that. And that's where we're looking at. We use Ash as a great example then as a restaurant in that context. If you're looking at, competing with other restaurants, the logical obvious is immediately, well, sure, it's the food on food comparison. But realistically, there's so much more. Obviously, it boils down at the end of the day to the food, because if that was horrible, I don't care how good your atmosphere was or how wonderful the service is or how pleasant people were. That's irrelevant. But if you take that as a given, which is scary, but if you take the food being delicious and incredible and unique and differentiating on its own, it's the little what else's that can make that user experience, that quality of experience so different. And it doesn't matter what your franchise is. If we're looking at ultimately user experience as the defining, were we successful? Was their journey one of pleasure and happiness? Because otherwise, like Ash said, they're not going to become recurring customers.
Yep. Yeah.
And
Yep.
it's far too much money to just spend to get a one-time customer. That's too expensive, man.
Yeah.
Way too expensive.
Yeah, I like what you said early on, that you said you have to have the pride, you have to believe and have the passion about what you're doing and believe in everything of it. So for us, I always say to everybody, you know what, I have the product, I have a great team behind me. So, and we have great guests coming. Do we have every single guest that say, wow, your food is the best and we're going to come again? No, some guests don't like it. They just don't like how our food is presented. Sometimes I win them, sometimes I lose them. I'm not going to cry about it, because if you keep crying about that, you're not going to go forward. You're going to just be stuck in one area and you will never move.
I agree.
Yeah. So I always believe that you have to be the train and the guest and the team are the passenger, and you're either on my train or you're not. It's just, some people like to sit in the luxury in the train in the front and on the bar and drink the alcohol. Hey, that's not bad. And some people want to go all the way in the back and just enjoy seating by themselves. So you have to find the.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
People laugh at me. They said, so how are you doing, Ashley? I said, you know what? I am well. I'm on the train. They look at me and said, well, you're either on the train or you're under. So if you're under, you're done. So,
oh, that's good. That's good. Kevin, let me ask you, man, because that brings us to one of the parts that I wanted to discuss, you had a couple key ideas. I don't know if they were myths you wanted to debunk or whatnot, but there were a couple ideas that you wanted to share. I wanted to give you the spotlight for a couple minutes.
Um, the one idea is when it really comes to management and your business and your owners and managing their expectations, is they truly have to have a plan. They believe it. They believe they have a plan because they're going into work and they're on this treadmill of just running the business. And what really needs to happen is they need to have a weekly time to sit down and really look at their plan and hold themselves personally accountable. That's the hardest part of owning your own business, I believe, is who's holding you accountable, and now it's you. So what structures do you put in place that help you do what you don't want to do? There's a psychological thing called avoidance, and we avoid the things sometimes we need to do or have to do, but we're avoiding them. And as an owner, we can't avoid the things that we want to avoid, because most of the time there's the things we have to take care of or handle. And if we put them off, it then compounds and hurts the organization or the team dynamics. So something to really think about is that an owner is a leader and they don't need accountability is the myth, and they actually do. But it's a harder structure they have to put in place where they account for themselves and hold themselves to a process or accountability to make their goals work. I was with a franchise, a founder of a SaaS company, and he just thought he could just say, I want $1 million this month, but not have the accountability of all the work it takes to build up to reach that $1 million in that month. And so you can't just be at the top of the ownership and expect a number or expectations of the team. You have to truly have it all in place so they can be successful.
I like that. Comments.
I think that personal accountability is an important piece. I find the best tool is do the hardest things first, or do the things that you don't want to do first, and get it done or do it when you're the strongest, right? Like if you're strongest in the morning, do it first thing in the morning. If you're stronger in the afternoon or in the evening, do it at that time. But
Mark.
match up the challenge of the activity with your natural stronger time of the day.
Yeah, I love to quote the book, Eat Your Frogs First. Have you heard of that book, Lauren?
No, but that's a good name.
That's the premise of what you just said, is basically when you have something you have to do or need to do, the more you put it off, the more you're thinking about it and wasting a lot of energy. It's taking up so much space in your head and your heart that if you just picked up the phone and did what you had to do or sit down and focus on it, it'll be over. Then your mind and your heart can focus on the next best thing, not the stuff you have to do, the heavy thing.
Yeah, always a
I'd agree.
plus.
Good point. Good point. Thanks, Lauren.
I like that. And ironically, my only connection to franchising is back in the day, I used to finance franchises, especially those in the States. And we were just looking for a great credit score, a little bit of, can we show some income for the last 2 years? And we're good, baby. We got SBA loans, we got so much stuff. And the fun part came with the people that had the most vision and had the most drive, had the most ambition for it. They were the ones that were so passionate that sometimes they couldn't see the numbers. They couldn't understand the business behind the business. And that's where a lot of people fall up. You know what I mean? That if this is already a proven model and you're walking into something that you just need to follow the damn recipe, right? It's that simple in a sense. That's where a lot of people may be falling off and trying to figure out, how do I price this? Where do I go? What's the square footage? What's the traffic? What does this equal down to? What does this calculate? And without proper guidance, without a franchise consultant like you guys, it's really tricky, really, really tricky to be able to pin that down, especially if that wasn't my background. So very cool for what you do. Let's go ahead, Kim.
I was going to say that one of the things I do end up when I start working with a customer, we first start off with a SWOT analysis, finding their strengths, weakness, opportunity, threats. Takes about a good 5-6 hour conversation to really get down to the nitty gritty. But really, what comes out of it is I create then a personalized spreadsheet that they have to start tracking stuff. It sounds very old school in a sense, but it's a way for them to get more connected to their numbers and their activities that their business is doing to generate the outcomes they want. And when they find out and they start tracking, they find, for example, this one customer, the mom was in charge of answering the phones, and he wanted to hire a staff person to come into the office to manage that process because his mom isn't always focused on taking care of that part of the job. And they assessed and made him go through the report and found out 384 missed calls in 2 months. Now, this is a service-oriented business, so if you don't pick up an answer, what ends up happening? They go down to the next one that's listed on Google as the next vendor there. So they missed 384 calls. Let's just say 30% of them were quotes or potential business. That's 100 clients that they missed the opportunity to make a connection with. And if you don't start looking at these numbers and start seeing the trends, you'll never know if you're doing better year over year on those little things.
Yep. How else are you going to keep track of those metrics? Like if you're not measuring, how can you grow, improve? How do you know?
Yep.
Very cool. Anyone comment?
No.
Well, I think to your point, people, when you start a business, you have to wear a lot of different hats. No pun intended. But you have to have sides of the house that are your strengths, speak to your strengths. So if you're great with customers, you may not be the same person that's strong at numbers. So pick the opportunities that'll leverage your strengths and then either hire to your weakness or something that the franchisor will take care of for you. But each of those components are important, but someone's got to be driving that ship to check the KPIs daily, know what's working, know what's not working, and then be proactive about working through situations. Because each of those components of the business are important. And if you don't have your eye on it, someone's not overseeing the different sides of the house, then something can, that was a pretty costly expense you found for your client, Kevin. That's big numbers to have let dropped in 2 months' time to lose that kind of clientele list. So I'm sure that made a big difference to the bottom line once they got the phones answered.
And Ash, you have hamburger restaurants, so fast food is, you got to be those peak part of the days. You got to be ready to serve, or people walk out to the next one, right?
Correct. Yeah, you have to be ready. Operation ready is always ready. I always tell everybody around me, if we all died tomorrow morning, somebody else can open the restaurant. We're still running, so make sure that closing is perfect. That's sounds very dramatic, but it's reality. So
that's a nice visual.
That makes a lot of sense.
and it's all about driving the point to anybody around you. Like I said, it's the team relation, the guest relation, the franchisor relation. And the team is very complicated now in California, and it's not an easy one. So you have to make them buy and believe in what you're selling. Because you're not selling the food, you're not going door by door and selling food. People are coming in. So that means they believe in you, or they're trying your food for the first time. And either way, you have to keep them coming. So but you have to believe in that product first from your side. And the people have to believe in it and keep doing the same every day. You can't come today and get the burger and it's 100 degree, and then tomorrow it's 155 degree temperature, and then the next day it's overburned, and the next day it's underburned. That doesn't work consistent, and that's not easy because you're dealing with humans. So humans have different visuals. So, but it's when you train them well, they follow. Then it's good.
So if I understand correctly, you've got like 2 locations. You have like 2 locations, and you're expanding. Are you starting at the point of franchising your stores, or are you getting prepared to do that?
We're looking into the second one. This is a franchise from Texas, so I bought the franchise.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's my first location in San Diego. That's why so I'm the one who's basically marketing the brand in San Diego. And then after that, we go. So we're hoping to open the second one by next year. So expanding, and like you said, we investing right now in our team from the beginning. they know where we're going, and they're like, okay, now they see the seed of the fruit, or the fruit is the seeds, whatever you call it. Yeah, okay, now okay, so the next one, that means them. I always tell them who I don't like to hire from outside. I like to hire from inside, grow them, teach them, grooms them to the level where I'm satisfied with the operation and the execution. It's all about execution. It's a burger, it's a fry, but it's the execution of that. It has to be the same all the time. Uh, so the cleanliness of the restaurant, the friendliness of the people in the front, all that is, it's like Laura said, when you own a business, you have so many hats that you have to wear them all the same time sometimes and look like
Yeah.
a goofy guy, but it is what it is. You have to. So like I said from the beginning, if you believe in your product, then your people will believe in you, then the guests will believe in you. And then it's a winning equation. It's a very hard equation. It's not easy at all.
Well, that's why successful franchises aren't everywhere.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
It would be far too easy to think that anyone could just follow somebody else's formula for success. Pay me this much, buy this much, sell it at this much, and everything's fine. That would be too
Mhm.
easy. The
Yep.
franchises don't fail at the same rate as somebody else just opening up a restaurant and fingers crossed, I know what I'm doing. But at the
Yeah.
same time, like those are at like the 90% fail within a couple of years, ridiculous rate. So franchises are considerably better at the, success rate than that, but they still should be higher. It's still a lot of mismatching where, like Lauren was talking about earlier, you're not getting the right people to the right
Yeah.
franchise and there's a mismatch, or they shouldn't even be in that position to even have a franchise. So yeah, a lot of that base fundamental foundational stuff that we're not asking.
Yeah, that's true. And also, like anybody who's doing franchise, you have to do your homework, because honestly, the franchise are making more money than the franchisee, because they're not really spending the money. They're not spending anything in reality. So it's very hard to find. For us, it's like, we have to make money. Otherwise, what's the point? Because you don't want to end up working for them. Basically, if you're not making money, then you are working for them on their behalf. It's, and
Very
that's what yeah, and that's what I seen it. I see a lot of that happening, and I was like, oh wow, that doesn't make sense. So homework is very important, extra homework, especially in California. So,
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
strong franchisors should be investing back in the business, hiring additional team members to support the additional growth in the franchises, right? The operations, the marketing, the technology, right? So you should see reinvestment back into the business to help it grow and scale from a franchisor. If they're just pocketing the money and not helping their franchisees build their business, then that would be a red flag for sure.
I agree. I agree.
interesting. Kevin, what do you want to add to that?
I was gonna just add that how important, um, once you get to the business, like you own the franchise, you're running it, and how are you staying coachable and learning? Because we get to the point where we're just driving and executing, that we sometimes forget the importance of just developing ourselves and keep pushing ourselves to grow. Because we're putting so much for other people that we forget about ourselves, and making sure that we are continually learning and growing, so we can always be the next best of ourselves. As we grow and develop the company, we are growing and developing our skills to manage that next level. It's like having two kids at one time. I had twin daughters, so I went from not being a parent to being a parent of two people. And so you quickly get to be up to speed. But if you're a parent of one, and then 2 years later you're a parent of two, and then you're a parent of three, it's different because you're able to expand. But when you're parenting three and they outnumber you and your wife, you have to get to the point where you have to parent differently now. And so you have to be able to adjust and see it in a different way. Same way with franchises. As you grow, you have to see yourselves managing, leading differently, and growing to those next step, so it can keep consistently being where you want it to be, while you take on more and more leadership role.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. I discovered that I have to step back from my role as an operator in the kitchen or the restaurant in general and be more attending meetings, lunches, educate myself more, and find more ideas to change my course of mind and learn something new and challenge myself to be able to operate the restaurant because sitting inside the restaurant flipping burger, that's not my job. And as much as I know how to do it and as much as I enjoy it, but it's not really, if you want to grow in the business, you can't be in the business. You have to be outside the business. So that's a different perspective. And that's what right now what I'm doing, more and more out, more and more meetings, more and more calls, more and more learning, readings, listening to books, listening to people like you guys. And, this it you have to grow your mind and not set in one box and that's it and expect to grow.
When I worked with one of my last clients, kind of getting them to take on books to then take to their hourly staff and get them to read a book. He was like, "This is crazy. What do you mean? They're just here doing that." You're competing hourly staff versus hourly staff, flipping burgers here or flipping burgers at McDonald's, whatever your competition nearby in your strip center or across the street. What are
Mhm.
you doing to maintain those people to stay with you? Because every month they stay with you, the better the quality of service, the better the buy-in, the better of everything else. And so we have to make sure that we are investing in creating that differentiating factor. You're still going to be paying 15, 16 bucks an hour wherever you work, but can it be a better place why I want to stay here? Even if it's through my high school years or my college years, you're still going to keep them for 4 years, not just every 6 months having somebody new. Your business will
Correct.
expand if you pour into them and get the skills.
Correct.
That's smart because otherwise, where else is it coming from, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
there's only
Especially now.
there's only so many places to play with that. There's only so many places to see that. So, and that's the context where look at it this way. My world is creating beautiful virtual live, or live online live events and stuff. It's so niche and it's so applicable only for a certain number of people. In your world, Ash, it wouldn't make sense to put on a live event. You need local, real people event where people can touch and see and taste your food. And the second they do, then give you money. It'd be pointless for you to have a workshop and be like, looks good, doesn't it? Watch this. I'm going to take a bite. I tell you, it tastes good. You'd be so mean, man. It'd be horrible.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Yep.
you have to have the right strategy. Events are a wonderful idea, but in your world, it has to be done right. And that's a lot of where that follow up and that follow through comes. And that's where Kevin is truly an expert. If you look in the chat, double check to see that you have his contact information. Good. Mine's there too, in case you know somebody that this can help or serve, or anyone that you feel that this might be something of value to them. Let me know. I'd love to speak with them. We're a private, invitation only, not for profit. So we're here to help others and grow in that way as well. Now, we'll probably end a couple minutes early tonight. So what I wanted to do was go around the table. Everyone can take 30 seconds to a minute. I was just going to ask if you could share something that was of any value for you tonight. If you had it, if you liked the experience, if you don't mind, if we would be able to repost this on social media, we'll tag you so it'll add some extra traffic back to you. Just a quick, how did you feel about tonight? Did you like it? Was it of value? Anything like that? Ash, do you want to go first? Oh, goodness, you're on mute.
Yeah. So yeah, it's every everyone you listen to, you're gonna always learn something, and it might not come right away for you, but if you start thinking about the conversations and it click, okay, yeah, you know what, Kevin said this, that makes sense. You said something early on that clicked with me. I think it was about oh my God, I think I mentioned it. So sorry, I forgot about it. But you said something that it clicked. So like I said, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, this is all about the relation between three people. It is three relationship. When you guys talked about that, it is really a three-way relationship: guest, employees, and franchisor. And they all have different perceptions, different perspectives. So when you learn that, or you have to keep your mind on that, your eye on the ball. That's why I say it.
Thank you. I love that. Thank you. And you got value from today. It was worthwhile for you. It was a good time.
Yes, absolutely. Meeting you guys is valuable.
I'm having a thrill. I can't wait to get down there and try one. I'm going to be
Yeah,
excited.
yeah. Are you in Carlsbad?
No, I'm the only guy in Montreal that doesn't speak French, so
Oh, you're in
I'm the other
Montreal.
way
You don't
around.
speak French? How do you live in Montreal?
I have a beautiful wife of 30 years. I got that covered. I do a little bedroom talk,
Oh,
a little pillow talk, but that's a different kind of French. It's different.
there you go. And Kevin, are you in
Thank you.
California? I forgot.
I'm in Poway.
Oh, Poway. Okay, so yeah, it's an easy drive, just 45 minutes. That's good.
Simple for him.
Yes,
Kevin, it's
yes.
45 minutes, but the man will feed you. He promises, okay? It'll be worth the trip.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That has got to be a trip. You got to, and realistically, Ash, in the nicest way, grab a one-on-one with Kevin. I guarantee that you guys can spin off and get some ideas. He's been doing this long enough and helped enough people. Plus, he's been on the other side. Most
I would love
consultants,
to.
ironically, have never been owners. It's a
Love
very
to.
different conversation. Good. You have his contact info. Grab that. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Lauren, would you like to make a couple comments about tonight? If you got anything, was it worthwhile for you?
I think the idea of building a community of having franchisees help and support franchisees from other systems can create a nice infrastructure to give people new tools and ideas of what other companies are doing that they could then bring into their own businesses. So I think that can be a very successful formula. And so as you continue to grow, I think it can serve a lot of different owners, because I think people with completely different industries can take advantage of ideas that others are using that has worked well for them. So I think it's going to be a nice community.
That's beautiful. And I think that's important because community is what brings all of that. The tide rises all boats. Very well done. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Kevin, did you want to add a couple words and then we can keep talking?
I appreciate everybody coming tonight and sharing and the perspectives that we all come here, especially Ash coming as a new franchise owner, got a couple years in, 2 stores, and your hopes of building a network of yours in San Diego, Southern California. It's, you're at that upside. Lauren, you're at the beginning of a lot of people's dreams, helping them get going and starting. I think your insight and perspective is really, really insightful, and I really appreciate your time today. And Natan, appreciate the gathering of our conversations and keep everything's moving forward. I'm just very grateful to have the opportunity to share and connect with people that are really striving to be successful in their professional life and growing their businesses. And if there's anything I can ever do of helpful of any way, a source of ideas or conversations, please feel free to reach out anytime.
Thank you. I will.
Wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, that is awesome sauce. Awesome, awesome, awesome sauce. We can keep the conversation going. We'll keep it on recording for the next couple of minutes by all means. I just wanted to make sure that before things got a little too far out of the way that was there for us. And it makes sense. It makes sense what everybody's saying. I even learned some stuff tonight and I was awesome because I get the thrill of always co-hosting events and getting the fun side on the back end. So the things that I get to learn, we've done, my goodness, tequila and tech talks. We've done fireside financial conversations, leadership roundtables, prosperity, longevity forums, so many places and so many people giving back in so many ways. It's wonderful. Yeah. Awesome. So Kevin, round us off for the end of the hour.
Well, with it being Halloween just a week away, you know, be ready to be surprised, be open minded to all the opportunities that can come. Sometimes we think things are tricks, but they're really treats. So really take the opportunity to enjoy the moments and keep the kid in you. If you don't have kids anymore, still dress up, have fun. It's our chance to really engage in
Yeah.
laughter and be at ease with ourselves and take that moment. I got a friend of mine, they invited us over, my wife and I invited us over for like their a Halloween party this Saturday night, costumes required. We're like thinking, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? So brings that new conversation for us. I think we're going to be dressed up as s'mores. I'm going to be dressed up as a hot fire, and she's going to be the marshmallow with 2 crackers on her. So just whatever it takes, be creative, have fun, enjoy this time of year.
Bravo. Bravo. Bravo.
Yes.
I love that. I love that. I love that. This time of year is a magical time because you get that under 12, and then it's like, oh my goodness, it's like a baby Christmas. I got enough candy for the rest of the year. It's epic. Me and my brother, I remember when we grew up, we didn't grow up with a lot of money. So we went out with our pillowcases and we came back and you had enough candy for the year. It was awesome. I'd sleep on that thing, man.
Yes.
Cool.
Nice
So I
talking
will,
with you guys.
yes, we'll let everyone get back to
Yeah.
their evening. Wonderful, wonderful. So if you came tonight, I will send a full recording of tonight. That way, all the tips, all the trips, anything that you want, you can go over. Anybody that registered, we had another 3 dozen people register. They're going to just get snippets. They're going to miss all the good stuff, but just get, oh, so close. I want to hear more about that. Everybody's invited to speak with Kevin. Everybody's invited to come back next month. Next month, different conversation, different topic, different people. If you have anyone that you know that you think would be of value to bring, I'm not asking you to bring 5, 6 people. It's not a networking event. But if you, let's say, knew another franchisee, franchisor, consultant, somebody that you thought might be of value and their voice might be useful, please, I invite you to come again and to bring them.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Wonderful, everyone. Blessings. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.